welcome to the channel. It's been a while. If you're new here, my name is Wendy. I write speculative fiction and horror. I have a debut novel out, Beneath the Tracks. And today we are going to start a new series on my channel. I'm going to do my very best to make it a series on my channel called the Fact or Fiction, where I talk about strange things that interest me, and y'all give me your feedback on whether or not you think it's real, whether it's fake. We go from there. What made me want to do this is all of the banners I have posted up on my social media say writer mom, lover of the strange, but I have never actually gone into the whole lover of the strange thing. I've talked about it here and there on various chats and stuff, but I've never actually delved into it, and so we're going to just delve into it a little bit more and see what y'all think, and if it's something that interests you, then you can join in on the conversation. So, anyways, so the topic that I am starting off with today is called haunted dolls. It is a rabbit hole that I fell down a couple months ago. A YouTuber was talking about her doll that she recently got, and she was talking about the other dolls that she found on Etsy and their backstories and what makes them come alive and everything else. And I was like, oh my god, these dolls are creepy and fascinating, and it's just interesting, you know, to think that a spirit could latch onto something like that and make it move and make it have a personality and a life and everything else. And I am alone, and I'm hearing noises. I think it's my dog. I may be getting in my own head here. It happens. Anyways, but I just thought it was fascinating, and it makes me wonder what makes a doll haunted. Like, what makes these spirits latch on to these things? Is it because they are so lifelike, because they got two eyes, two legs, two arms, and a body, and they look human? Is that why us as people latch onto these dolls? It's a curious question. It's a curious thing. I would love to know what y'all think about that. And in the meantime, I am going to go over some of the haunted dolls that you can find out on the web. Now, I'm not going to, I know about Annabelle and Let Me Out, and the other one, Robert. We've all heard about them. Annabelle has her own damn movie. You can go see Let Me Out in England. He's open. You can go see him. But I want to talk about some other ones. Some other interesting dolls that are out there that you don't hear too much about, but they have interesting backstories all the same. And I hope you're interested in them as well. So, here we go. I have them on my phone on this small ass text. I don't know if you can even read that. Anyways, but we're going to go ahead and get started in it. I got my master juice, so we can totally have this conversation with me fully active and alive and thinking for a change. I'm addicted to these. I need to stop. They're not good for you. So, anywho, the first doll that I'm going to talk about, and I am going to be reading off of my phone because I don't think I have all of these details completely memorized. I have most of them memorized, and I will leave the websites down below where I found all this information. They have more dolls linked on there. These are the ones that spoke to me, so you can go look them up and read all about them, look into more dolls. Okay, so one of the mini dolls that I found interesting and fascinating is a doll called Patty Reed's doll. This doll, it's not supposedly it's not haunted, but its backstory kind of makes you wonder if there isn't something clinging to it, because people who, I really hope that's my dog. It's in a museum right now, and I'll get into the why it's in a museum. But the people that look at it say it's old, it's creepy, and it just gives off this weird vibe. So, in its backstory is, why wouldn't it be haunted? So this doll traveled with 8-year-old Patty Reed to California in 1846 along with the Donner Party. The Donner Party was a group of settlers heading to Sutter's Fort, California when they got caught in a horrible snowstorm and turned to cannibalism in order to survive. Patty Reed, along with her family, was one of 48 people out of 87 to survive this ordeal. Her doll now sits inside a Fort Museum in California. It is on display. You can go and see it. Yada, yada, yada. But if you think about it, like I said, people say that it gives off a weird vibe. So the fact that it's not moving or haunted or anything like that makes you wonder if it's just because there's no contact with it. It has no physical contact. It's kept in a glass case. It's barred off from people so that like people's energies can't quite get to it, and it's just there. Because it was with the Donner Party. It traveled with the Donner Party all the way to California, and I can't imagine the horrors that it saw, the things that it saw. Like, if dolls could really speak, OMG. What could possibly come out of that doll's head? Now, I'd be interested in going to see this doll myself, like going to visit and seeing, because it's part of history too. It's part of the American history, what happened to the Donner Party. It's creepy as hell, which makes it a little more interesting, but it's part of history. It's there. It's happened. This is what happens when people are desperate to survive anything and everything. They resort to basic needs, and the basic need was to eat, and that resorted to eating people. So yeah, Patty's Reed doll is the first doll on this list, and that is the first one that I thought I'd bring to your attention and just on your thoughts, because every other doll on this list is supposedly haunted, but it would seem like if residential horrors is what makes these dolls haunted, if people are latching on to something, to life, to anything, then you would think that this doll would be haunted as well. But it just sits there in its glass case, and we can speculate as to why. Maybe nobody actually latched onto it. Maybe it was Patty Reed's doll, and Patty was the only one that really latched onto it, and when she passed, it went to a museum. And so it's just there. So the next doll that's on the list is called Jalay, and the reason why Jalay or Jalay, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Probably should look that up. But either way, Jalay is on my list simply because she is an interesting doll in that she only haunts one particular family. Now, whether or not that she only haunts this family because of the curse that was placed on her towards this family, or if it's simply because the family hasn't let her go because of the curse. Let me go into detail. So Jalay was given to a woman as a gift with a curse placed upon her. Every daughter gives birth to a boy and a girl, and every baby boy dies on his third day. Today, the doll is being held by a woman named Anna. Her great-grandmother was the original woman cursed with this doll, and 4 generations of women have carried Jalay with them. Anna says there are giggles and inhuman screams can be heard in the night, and the family claims the cries of different infants can be heard as well, which they believe to be the cries of all the baby boys lost over the years. Now, if you want to talk about a family tradition, one of the worst family traditions, can you imagine raising your daughter? She sees this doll hanging around the house, she knows it's there, and then when she gets of age and she gets married, the mom is like, oh, by the way, we have this doll, it curses us, so you are going to have a boy, but you are going to lose him, and then he's going to haunt you through, I dropped my phone, through this doll. Can you imagine? I couldn't imagine that. That would scare the shit out of me. I would be like, I'm not celibate. I'm not having kids. Not happening. Nope. Like, I love my boys. I am a mama. I love my boys. I would never want anything to happen to them any way, shape, or form. But if that was something that was placed before me, I'd be like, I'm not having kids. Just no. Nope. Not happening. Sorry. I think that I'd let the family line die. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit harsh on me. But I don't know how I would feel that one. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Like, every single family member has a boy. And then you hear them crying and you can't help them. You can't do anything with them. You can't. Woo! I can only imagine. I cannot imagine that. I don't think I want to imagine that. Like, even though I write horror fiction, I don't think I want to imagine that. No. So, anyways, Jalay. Not going anywhere near her. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I don't know. What would you guys do? What would you do? Would you just not have kids? Because I don't think I would have kids if that was placed before. Do they even tell their children what's going to happen, or they just kind of... I don't know. I would hope they give their children some kind of heads up. After 4 generations, you've got to have some kind of a heads up for it to continuously happen after 40. No. Anywho, going on to the next list. The third and final doll on my list is mainly caught my attention because of who it was connected with. Like, I've always had a fascination with Marie Laveau, and that's who the doll's connected with. Ever since I heard about her American Horror Story, and then I looked up, and then you learn the history, and you look her up, and you're like, oh my god. Interesting person, interesting life, and I've kind of followed anything that has to do with her. I've kind of like picked it out. I'm like, hey, that's cool, that's interesting. So this has to do with her. There's actually a haunted doll connected with her, and it is called the Devil Baby doll. And this one also has a curse to it. So, in the late 1800s, a Scotsman's jealous ex-lover turned to the voodoo queen Marie Laveau to curse his new bride. The young bride died, giving birth to her first child, a grotesque baby that the people of New Orleans dubbed Satan himself. They said the devil baby would hide and wreak havoc where it went, and to protect themselves, people would carve fake devil babies out of gourds and hang them outside their home to frighten the child away. Marie Laveau cared for the child until her death, and it's rumored that it was buried with her in the St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. Probably said that all wrong. Some gourds have managed to survive throughout the years, but they are rare and highly coveted. In the earliest 20th century, exact replicas of the devil baby appeared around New Orleans and are said to be possessed by the spirit of the child. Artist Ricardo Pustiano, again, I didn't look up how to say names, I apologize, claims to have bought remnants of those dolls and now recreates them. People who have purchased them have claimed these dolls are evil. Their eyes will follow you and move around on their own, and do become with a buyer beware warning. So that is the third and final one. Again, it was someone cursed someone else, and this is the result. Like I said, the only reason this fascinated me was because, yes, Marie Laveau apparently agreed to curse this woman. She also took the baby and raised it as her own. Like, what? She's got to have some kind of heart, right? Baby's there, needs a mom. It's grotesque. Dad don't want it. So she took it and raised her own. And I like that idea. I do like the idea. I don't know how grotesque the actual baby was. All I get is like this little photo that'll again pop up here. It doesn't really, this looks like a devil child, but I don't think the child actually looked like that. I didn't really dig for too many pictures of it. And the fact that the people of New Orleans, I know they're like super superstitious in that area, and that and the voodoo and whatnot still very much is alive in that area. So I'm curious as to how they ward that off. Like, this guy, Ricardo, basically made a living off of it. He started rebuilding the dolls and selling them to people. Like, why? The child was supposedly evil to begin with. Why would you recreate that? Why would you spread that? What? Maybe he wanted to curse other people. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's as evil as Jalay. Like, Jalay was just, woohoo, I'm not going near that doll. But this one, their eyes will follow you and move around on their own. That sounds like a typical haunted doll to me. Like, all the stories I've read on Etsy and YouTube and whatnot, that sounds like a typical regular doll. So maybe it's not the devil child. Maybe it's like other spirits clinging on to these devil child likenesses and just doing their own thing, and people are giving. They're like, oh, it's the devil baby. It's him. He's come back to haunt us. But why would he? Maybe he hops around and he's getting revenge because people in New Orleans never accepted it and they called him Satan baby. Like, well, if I'm Satan baby, then here I am. Let me cause my trouble. Let me raise hell and give you what you're asking for. I don't know. I'm not trying to offend anybody here. I'm really not. These are just my thoughts, my opinions, and like I said, this was just a video on interesting dolls that I found searching the web, and I wanted to share them with y'all and get your opinions on them and see what y'all thought. And there are so many other dolls out there. Like, you do a Google search of haunted dolls and you get hundreds of them just on the selling sites alone. So I can only imagine the stories that come along with those and whatnot. And wow, it's just, like I said, it's a whole rabbit hole of going down. And I was like, if I didn't have kids and a dog, I'd probably bring one into my home simply because for pure fascination of it. But then again, you had to have some kind of experience with the supernatural and all that, and I have little to none. Like, most of my experience is only shadow figures I experienced as a kid and then what I've read online, and that's not a whole lot, so probably wouldn't bring one in my home. Anyways, again, give your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below if you liked any of the dolls, if you think any of them are actually really haunted, or if it's just like people being paranoid, or if the curses are real or whatnot. Let me know what you think, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like that, subscribe, and I will see you all around next time. Bye!